Welcome back everyone. You're watching the training week from May 26th, where the weekly focus was of course routines, and the weekly highlights, we had some biggies. Coach David came to town on a Tuesday, so we had a great sesh there. Threw 2.5 twister on vault just into the pit, and I haven't actually written these up yet, so I'm not reading from the screen, but there was a bit more. I forget. So it's been a long time. I was really looking forward to sharing this week, but life's been busy. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Misha, and here I share my love for gymnastics. You can watch literally every single turn I've taken on equipment in the last 4 or 5 years, and watch all of my build up to all sorts of international comps, most notably the Tokyo Olympic Games. Haven't done the intro in a while, fam. There you had it. So started Monday off as the usual. I like to do some air track, getting back to that lay double front. Oh, the other highlight was actually pretty much like a second half on floor. I forget what day of the week that was, maybe Friday or Saturday. But I did a little floor sequence, and I didn't feel too gassed out at the end. There was only 3 tumbles, relatively simple tumbles, but I was glad to get through it. And so at this stage I'm training pretty consistently all 6 apparatus. Obviously the majority of the work is on P-bars and high bar, and today is exactly 1 week before TriStar Champs, the World Championships trial. So this might actually be the last time you hear from me before the trial. It's very likely the next video won't come out till after, but I'm sure you guys will see the results, and I might post some routines earlier than the training weeks if all goes well. But yeah, this build-up's gone pretty well. P-bar, I want to say, and I think I've been saying it, I feel like P-bar's about an 80% chance of hitting. There's the one giant DME inconsistency where it always goes over, or sometimes I fall. There's also the Peach 1 bar Healy, so there's those 2 main parts of the routine that have to go well, otherwise we don't get much of a routine. High bar, we're probably sitting at what, 15-20% chance, but probably gonna go for the big set. No point holding back, because you still want to add a casino later on. So if I can't be doing the pagan, if I'm not doing the pagan, then I don't have much of a chance of adding the next step, which is going to be the casino. Oh, the other highlight from this week was a laid out Gaylord 2. Tried that one again. There's Coach David helping me out. 2 minutes 24, a little bit on the slower side. But layout Gaylord 2 from just the regular giant, no tap. So in the background over there is that is Josh. Massive shout out to Josh. Josh left back to Germany. He's been with us for about a year, and Josh was a major part of my my training. Josh was doing most of the sliding for when I was building up the Pagan Coleman connection, and he was pretty much been training with me every single day. So Josh has sadly left, but I'm sure he's gonna have a blast back in Germany, where the bread and the buns are very good. So Josh, if you're watching, massive shout out to you. Hope all's going well back home. And I wanted to send Josh off with a send. So low key I was thinking I might try to connect the stoop half G2 if the stoop half goes well, but stoop halves are a bit crooked. But the G2, if you remember when I tried it a while back, I couldn't really get my hands above the pad. I was always trying to grab a bit too low, so I didn't quite have the amplitude to have hands on the pad. But whenever it was, maybe Thursday, Friday, can't remember, actually got 2 hands on the pad, which shows me that it's possible, fam. Layout Gaylord 2 for me is possible. So we hit a pretty decent P-bar set. Oh man, high bar. Fam, we got issues on high bar with my guards. So, you know, I talked last time about my guards ripping. And so these guards here are brand new. I aborted mission on that pagan there, but you know, disorientation's been a little bit of an issue lately, and after today I figured out what it was. I figured out why I get confused. So I went one more time just to make sure everything's okay, and then saluted. But the reason I get confused in the giant, if this makes sense, is so this pull right there, that pull, when I do that pull too late or a bit harder than usual, I end up a bit more over on the other side of the bar, and that's enough to completely disorient me. It's almost like the alarm bells go off because the entire tap is going to be different. So I'm glad I know why it happens, but you know, fixing it's such a delicate thing. Pretty close there, but coach thought it was all good. Let me catch it. Thank you, coach. Zoliman nowhere near turned over enough, and you can see I'm clearly struggling to get through the set. So anyway, at the end of this week, I noticed another bloody line is forming in the exact same part of the guard. And it hasn't even been 2 weeks since I started releasing in these brand new guards. So of course I started panicking. And in my light week, after this week, I just started going over pit. I started going over pit because you know, that's not something you want to mess with. And I started breaking in my second pair of new guards. And what did I notice after about a week? Like, and I don't know if it's what's that word, pareidolia? I think it's pareidolia. It's like when you see things in the clouds that aren't there, like shapes, because they're familiar. And I started making out another line on the second pair of brand new grips. So that's 2 grips in about 3 weeks. 2 pairs of grips in 3 weeks, which I'm nervous about. The second pair I can't guarantee, but the first pair there's definitely a line. So I stopped doing releases in those, and the leather thickness must be a little bit too thin. If you guys have ever ordered grips from Reichel Sport, not Reichel Sport, but Reichel Sport in Germany, you can choose the thickness of the leather. And somehow I didn't think to specify, but they came back with the thin version. So working them in extremely fast, within a week I was able to do releases. But because the leather's so thin, I think it must be that Zoliman, because it's the left guard which shows the line. Maybe I can even include some pictures later, but you'll see a line. You might be looking at it now if I've included it. So yeah, luckily I have found somewhere in my stash a pair of thick ones, and the difference was obvious straight away. I could barely giant without feeling like I'm gonna slip off. So unlucky with the handguards, and it's a bit annoying, but it is what it is. So I'm trying to just minimize how many Zolimans I do. But yeah, no choice. Just gotta survive one more week. And then I can work in those thick ones. I think today was the day. Oh, that's a nice connection. Just that leg separation. But yeah, so there's Josh. We're sending Josh off to Germany with a send. This was attempt number 1. A little bit tucky at the start, but laid out the second half. And then this one was with commitment. How did it go, fam? Let's see. And boom. Look at that. Like comfortably on. Hands clearly above the pad and then going down into it. So it's possible. It's possible. That's what we're shooting for. That connection, 0.2 bonus. It's going to be a tough routine. But you got to shoot for the stars. I've lost track what day of the week this is. Looks like Thursday. Double back full. You tell me, fam, but it looks exactly the same. Just looks like a face first landing, no matter how long I do it. Maybe I just gotta go over hard. Give myself some incentive. You know, sometimes it works. Works like that on Vault. You give yourself like a higher landing surface, and all of a sudden you find yourself propping up a bit higher. Man, the whips are so lethal on the ankle. Lethal. Actually, I almost had that was a bit of a dangerous one. I landed twisting into the ground. So I think I got to start doing more on the floor, because the air track is easy, but you know, the takeoff on floor is a bit different. You have to be much tighter. So a couple to feel the water out, and ended up sticking my third attempt, which was great. Stuck double twist and the double pike. When I do get back to floor sets, I reckon I'll do the double pike, maybe like second tumble, and just finish off with a double tuck. There's no double difficulty for dismounts on floor, so essentially the difference between a double tuck and a double pike is only 0.1 as a dismount. And then double layout versus double back pike also, just a 0.1. So we're talking tenths. And as I am, if I compete floor again, maybe sometime next year. Well, that was a nice line. That was a really nice line. 213, that's more like it. Now, if I ever compete floor again, you know, we're not trying to push boundaries too much here. We'll save that for P-bar, high bar. And just see if we can put together a clean floor. Josh in the background, I didn't notice obviously when I was going, but slipping right off that rail. All right, little wobble there. Hand shuffle. Caught with that right hand a bit far behind. Second one was nice. So the whole time I'm trying to minimize the hand shuffles, but looks like I'm struggling. All right, well, it wasn't horrible, but not the same giant DME that I do when I'm doing it in isolation. So I got to do a bit more in sequence. The good news is I'm not getting tired for the dismount. I'm a bit tired for the peach and the giant DME, so the underbar stuff. Maybe it's a forearm thing, but the dismount usually I'm not too gassed. All right, so what did we manage on the bar on Friday? Nice and clean. Shooting for routine. Got through with some major issues on Tuesday. Boom. Legs not too bad, but you can tell they split. Pretty flat. Decent kick out there. Again, I'm looking to try and open my hips fully. That looks epic. And just a bit far. I remember being on the safe side on that. I didn't want to send it too close, especially after that Tuesday sesh. But yeah, obviously, as I've said, that's the crux of the routine. That skill is hard for me doing it that late. Did I have the juice for the dismount? Well, I would have had a little rest there, chalking up again, so yeah, no problem. No problem. Good tap, pretty good knees, but that was with a bit of a breather after missing the pike Gaylord. So yeah, you can see I'm a bit more powerful and explosive than usual here, so did a double twist into the pit and then just spontaneously decided, you know what, I'll give a couple of 2.5s. First one always twisting early, and then second one pushing through a little bit more. Day one, we'll take it, fam. We'll take it for day one. Our favorite apparatus. The favorite. Immaculate leg form. Look at that hip extension. Look at the speed on that dismount, fam. Should be a pommel specialist. So we got those new pommel mats, and I'm still like protecting myself on the landings. They're so hard. They've softened up a bit, but you know, my knees and my ankles are fragile little things. So you always see me kind of bending down and trying to make that landing as soft as I can. And done. Out of juice. Pushing through. Should probably start doing some circles for endurance. I'm mostly thinking of pommel as just a maintenance thing right now. Clear, done, no more. But let's talk about the strength. So this week, I think last week I did it as well, but I'm warming up with 5 kgs in that vest. The vest itself must be, I don't know, kg or so. And then the second set, actually I think that was the second set, didn't bother including the first one. I'm getting 6 kilos inside that vest. Oh, this would have been another highlight. So I did a little 3-part sequence. And this brings us to the end, fam. You'll see the boys trolling. Big shout out to my level 4 to 6 group who trolled the camera. And big shout out to all the patrons, fam. We got 1 week to go. The nerves are kicking in. 1 week to the World Championships trial. So thank you to everybody who's supporting, who's giving a little. And speaking of, I might actually give a little if I make it through. Thanks for watching. All the best. Till next time.